at the end of the day, let's think about it this way. He won in the Super Bowl. He actually had to do something when he played Kansas City, and he got it done, and he got it done with emphasis. So when I'm looking towards, the future, and we're looking at the long-term trajectory of each career, I truly think Jalen Hurts will finish as the better quarterback overall. And it might not show it talent-wise because personally I think Cam Newton was that talented, but Jalen Hurts, his accolades are going to be better. His completion percentage is going to be better. His passer rating is going to be better. And it's just, you're going to compare those numbers, 5-6 years from now, and we're going to have this conversation again. But that's when I'll take Jalen Hurts because he goes back to the Super Bowl and he wins it. I think Jalen Hurts, all in all, at the end of his career, will be a better quarterback overall.
How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the B Team. We got Mike over
Hello,
there. We got Muller over
people.
here. We are back with another episode.
Sure.
Coming in hot, episode 189. We've done a lot of these.
Mm-hmm.
None of them have we had a story like I'm about to tell.
Okay.
All right.
I'm intrigued.
So I'm mowing the lawn 2 days ago. And I got to get under this tree, right? I'm mowing the lawn. I got to get under this tree. I go to spin around. Now, the tree's got leaves the color of like this Pittsburgh Steelers stripe, and they're like a little bit white, that yellowish white. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
All right, so that's the tree. I spin through the tree. I'm wearing a cutoff. Spin through the tree. I feel like something crawling, so I'm like, oh, maybe a bug went in there. I look in my shirt. I had like 5 or 6 wasps all inside, and I just see the hive right here. I just dropped everything, started running through the yard. I'm like, holy cow, my whole chest right now just absolutely stung up.
Oh, really? They got you?
I was all puffy in my neck. Dude, I got stung like 8 to 10 times.
Did you finish mowing the
My
lawn?
armpit is destroyed.
Can you show the camera? Do you mind?
I mean, you could probably see this one.
Oh, wow.
This one, that's the worst one. That honestly is the worst because it's in such a weird spot. Like my arm constantly rubs it. The shirt constantly rubs it. It's terrible. It's really bad. And then my middle finger just annihilated. 1, 2, 3.
How does it feel to get stung by
triangle.
a wasp?
Terrible.
Can you describe the feeling?
I walked in and, well, this should tell you everything. I walked back into the house immediately after this happened, and Alexa and her sister both thought like I ran my foot over with the lawnmower.
Oh, wow.
That's how much I was like complaining and yelling. And then I walked down and finished the lawn because
You're him.
flu game. I'm him. So I did finish the lawn, just so everyone knows.
Nice.
I battled through it. But dude, like 6 wasps out of this little hive annihilated my chest. Annihilated it.
You mess with their home, bro.
And this is why I don't think I can get a tattoo.
Nah, you couldn't. You can get a tattoo. That's something that will. I am an advocate for a tattoo. I'm not an advocate for getting stung by a wasp and intruding on their home because I've been in a similar situation before, and it's not fun. Because then they just start swarming you, and they're attacking you from all angles, and you're just flailing your arms, and people are like, "What is that guy doing?"
Yes.
So I know I've been there. It's not fun.
It was just a brutal scenario because you look down. I'm wearing a cutoff, right? So my cutoff, the way I turned through the tree,
easy access,
went over top of the hive, and it was basically just like come on in.
Damn.
And just I got annihilated. Not fun. So
now
back
you know.
with the B team here.
Now you know.
Yeah, now I know. Don't mess with wasps.
Don't.
Yeah.
I've had a similar story like that when I was painting for the city. I was painting fire hydrants for the city of Bethlehem for like $8 an hour. Yeah, my dad was like, "I want you to do this." I was like, "Yeah, it doesn't really sound fun, $8 an hour." He's like, "Show you how a real man works." I'm like, "All right, whatever, I'll do it, sure." There was right near Dardo's. There's this one fire hydrant, and it was blistering hot out. It had to be 99 degrees, 100 degrees out.
Sure.
And
way to stop right before 100.
I'm sweating my balls off. I'm painting this fire hydrant, and all I see is just about 6 to 8 wasps come from underneath the hosel. And I'm like, yo. So I just start taking the tarp, and I'm swinging it around. People, are watching me do this. I didn't finish it up. I'm like, fuck that. Dude, they didn't leave. There must have been a massive, massive hive underneath the top hosel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? It's a freaking fire hydrant. I don't give a shit. I'm moving on.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's not fun, man. Again, they tag you from all angles. You don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Didn't get stung, which was great. But I can imagine it's not It's not a fun feeling.
No, it was brutal. And my finger does look a lot better. It was way puffier. My neck over here was very puffy the day it happened. Bad. It was bad. I got stung like right on my collarbone 2 times.
At least they're not
Brutal.
like, venomous or anything. That would that'd be a problem.
That was my biggest worry.
They're not. You're
not.
Fine. No.
They're not. But I did find out that the ones that I got stung by, I sent a picture to Morgan, got the full rundown.
Oh yeah, she knows.
She was like, yeah, the problem with those ones is, and this is where they got you, is their stingers don't come out and they don't die after they sting you like some do. And she was like, yeah, so I'm telling you right now, you probably got stung like 4 or 5 times by the same one. He was just going at you. And I was like,
and I think they also, the stingers on them actually hook a little bit.
Yeah,
so I know some,
that's
and
why
like
they get stuck in you.
They'll get stuck in you because they curl their stinger and it's pretty much puncturing the top part of your skin.
Yeah.
But I don't think with wasps it's that curved of a stinger. But still, that's not a sting you want, because you're essentially, they're taking off a chunk of the skin when they're stabbing in and coming up. Yeah. That's not fun.
I mean, I would argue you just don't want to get stung at all.
Yeah. Besides that, nobody wants to.
Yeah.
But I know.
All right, let's get actually into why we're here, which is football.
Okay.
All right, the B team, episode 189. We are back.
Boom. We're back.
Trending this week, Mike. Trending this week. Eagles fans started a stir where basically they're saying that Cam Newton is nothing compared to Jalen Hurts, which, to be fair to them, I kind of do see where they're coming from, because Jalen Hurts has always produced when it mattered for the most part. Let's not look at national championship games. But Jalen Hurts has always produced when it mattered for the Birds, especially last season when everyone was doubting him. He went to that Super Bowl and he cooked the Kansas City Chiefs. He put the Kansas City Chiefs in a blender. He had guys crying on the sideline. They were up, I think it was 30-0 at halftime of that Super Bowl. Absolute dominant performance from him. And, since he's entered the league, I believe he's got the most rushing touchdowns, which we know why. But at the same time, you can make a few arguments that that's really impressive, which I agree with. Jalen Hurts has been a very impressive quarterback on a very impressive football team in a very impressive Philadelphia Eagles organization. And I kind of just want to ask you the question straight up, because we're going to get into it here anyways. Who had the better career between Cam Newton and Jalen Hurts? And is there a few discrepancies within, the team that Jalen Hurts is getting the play in for multiple years of his career versus the one that Cam has had to put up with outside of, 2015? So I just want to ask you the question and let you take the floor here for a bit.
Real quick, how did this trend start? Was it just Eagles fans?
I think there was an Eagles fan that said, it was something to the point of, Jalen Hurts responded to the Super Bowl loss and came back and won, when Cam Newton responded to the Super Bowl loss and saw basically the end of his career trickle out.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're pointing to, which I don't really think is a fair analogy at all.
Mm-hmm. You give me the floor here?
Yeah, go for it.
So it's one of those comparisons where I don't think I can't sit here and immediately give you who I think has had a better career when Jalen Hurts, has another 10 to 12 years in the league. Cam Newton's played he's around 10 to 12 years, hopped around the later end of his career like Rodgers and other quarterbacks that have been in the league.
Cam Newton played 10 years.
10 years. Then he played with New England was a team.
Yeah.
He played with another team that signed him that I can't think of the name.
Well, he went back to Carolina, but I'm taking out the year where he played 2 games.
Okay, so
in Carolina,
he played
2
his
games.
Panthers career pretty much.
It's basically just that.
My thing is, if you're really trying to compare quarterback to quarterback here, I personally think Cam was definitely more talented. Let's put that out there. Cam Newton was way more talented than Jalen Hurts during his career. If we're gonna look back on this conversation 5 years later and then compare, I will take Jalen Hurts. But again, there's so many. This is why it's so hard to compare this guy, because of how freaking good his team was. One of the best that I've seen. Let's just talk about. Let's go to the 2015 season where he went 15-1 and they lost in the Super Bowl to Denver. I'm just going to go through a couple of his pass catchers that he had.
Yeah.
Ted Ginn Jr., Jericho Cotchery, shout out to you, ex-Jet. Corey Brown, rookie Devin Funchess, Greg Olson, Jonathan Stewart, running back. No 1,000-yard receiver. He carried. To go 15-1 with this mediocre ass receiving core that just goes to show how good and how elite of a quarterback he was. He was diamond. He was accurate. He was running. He was smart. Good IQ. I'm not taking that away from him whatsoever. So if you want to talk about talent-wise, I think Cam had to do more. It was clear as day. It's clear as day that Cam Newton had to produce more than Jalen Hurts would ever have to produce. If you swap teams, are we seeing the same, are we – the touch doesn't exist. Are we seeing the same numbers being put up by Jalen? I don't think so. Let's be real here. But that's football at the end of the day. The Jalen Hurts, the Birds team last year was so good that Jalen Hurts, all he had to do was take care of the football, not turn it over, make the easy throws, and you're going to win. I mean, you had Saquon Barkley, the best O-line in the league. You should be winning every single game.
You had A.J. Brown. And you had Devontae Smith. And you had Jahan Dotson, Zach Ertz.
Even those guys, yes, Dallas Goedert is a top 10 tight end in the league. Jahan, we'll get into him later. But A.J. Brown obviously is better than anybody at that moment on that team. Devontae Smith is better than any moment on this Cam Newton 2015 Panthers team is what I'm saying. Yeah. But, at the end of the day, let's think about it this way. He won in the Super Bowl. He actually had to do something when he played Kansas City, and he got it done, and he got it done with emphasis. So when I'm looking towards the future, and we're looking at the long-term trajectory of each career, I truly think Jalen Hurts will finish as the better quarterback overall. And it might not show it talent-wise because personally I think Cam Newton was that talented, but Jalen Hurts, his accolades are going to be better. His completion percentage is going to be better. His passer rating is going to be better. And it's just, you're going to compare those numbers, 5-6 years from now, and we're going to have this conversation again, but that's when I'll take Jalen Hurts because he goes back to the Super Bowl and he wins it. I think Jalen Hurts, all in all, at the end of his career, will be a better quarterback overall.
I think you're right in that. I think Jalen Hurts, on paper, is going to have the better accolades. He's going to have the better achievements. He's going to have the better record between the two. But I think that when you look back on these teams, Cam Newton was winning MVPs. Cam Newton was winning, NFC Championship, getting into Super Bowls, and he was playing with teams that
nobodies.
They were
nobodies.
They were nobodies. I mean, and not to mention, Mike, he was playing for a franchise in the Carolina Panthers, who have been historically a bottom 10 franchise ever since they've been created. So to think that Cam Newton was able to take that organization and those teams and get them to a Super Bowl and put them on the map where teams actually feared playing Carolina because of him, I think that kind of puts him a little bit above Jalen Hurts at the moment because you're not fearing Jalen Hurts. If we're going player to player, if you put Cam Newton into those Eagles teams, does it stay the same? Does it get worse or does it get better? I'd argue it might even get better because Cam Newton's a little more mobile. He's a little more powerful. Imagine him with the tush push.
Yeah, it's unstoppable.
It's absolutely unstoppable. It's no longer just a 1 or 2 yard play. We're talking 10 to 15 yards that he could run through the line and dominate. And he still had the arm strength. If we're going off the first 5 to 6 years, he still had the arm. We know that down the stretch, he had his injuries. He got hit a lot because he was on those Carolina teams. He had to carry. He had to run. And his arm kind of got it lost a little bit. We saw that in New England. We saw when he went back to Carolina. There was questions. He wasn't running as much. He wasn't the same quarterback. And, Jalen Hurts is a little bit more protected. And that's not a knock on Jalen Hurts. I think that if anything, that's a pro. He's put himself in a position.
That's his role.
On a team and an organization who has built around him and done the proper things. I mean, they went and got Saquon. They went and got A.J. Brown. They got Devontae Smith. They put a good defense around. They build up the line. They know how to generate great talent on the line. That's not a knock on Jalen Hurts. If anything, it shows how great the Philadelphia Eagles organization is, and that kills me to say as a Cowboys fan, but it is. And Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback. You and I say it all the time on this show. He's a very, 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 very good quarterback. It's hard for me to say Cam Newton was worse than him. I think, if anything, this argument is between a Rolls Royce and a Tesla. Jalen Hurts is efficient. He's moderately reliable. You know, he puts up an electric offense with the tush push. He can throw the ball. You got Saquon. Like, that's what his team is. He's the Tesla. Cam Newton's a Rolls Royce. He's going to come out here and he's going to take over the room. He's going to wear the flashy bling. He's going to look good on the field. He's big. He's powerful. He was throwing the ball. He could do it all. He was the Rolls Royce. And there's nothing wrong with being the reliable Volkswagen. There's nothing wrong with being the reliable Dodge Ram. That's Jalen Hurts. And that's perfectly fine. Those are great cars. I'm here for that. But I think this is an argument between two guys who are very different. They have very different career trajectories, very different careers in general within their franchises. I think Jalen Hurts is just set up for way more success than Cam Newton was. And this argument ultimately is kind of stupid. I don't really know why it's trending because I might have missed something and Cam Newton might have said something that he was better than Jalen Hurts, blah, blah. Like, sure, player to player, Cam Newton all day. I'm taking you for 5 years of the beginning of your career. Absolutely. But Jalen Hurts is he's almost like a robot. He'll just get the job done. He's efficient. He does the right things. He gets his playmakers the ball. He doesn't have to make the plays, whereas Cam Newton had to make the plays. And that's why I think if you put Cam Newton in the Eagles team, they would be even better. But we'll never know that. It's a dumb argument because we're talking about a hypothetical. If you want to look at stats, Jalen Hurts obviously is going to have the better stats at the end of his career. He's got another 10, 15 years, like you said. Exactly. He's got great weapons. He's got Howie Roseman that's just going to keep rebuilding this team. He's got a great O-line. He's still going to score more touchdowns. It's a dumb argument to have, honestly.
Like, and this kind of brings me back to, the Rodgers-Breeze, comparison. I find it very similar, Aaron Rodgers was more of a Cam Newton-esque player, and then Drew Brees, Jalen Hurts and Drew Brees are kind of, have a similar role in how they play and operate offense. Is that, like, I think that's a very fair analogy.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers versus Drew Brees, Cam Newton versus Jalen. It reminds me of the same exact thing. Everyone's going to give the flash to Aaron Rodgers. Everyone's going to give the flash to Cam Newton, and it's rightfully so. Why I think Jalen Hurts will have a better career after, his time is up. He's going to win more games. He's going to win those playoff wins. He's going to win those Super Bowls. He is set up in such a good situation where he doesn't have to play hero ball. We've been saying this since last year, bro. We have it on footage. If he can just play his role, not turn the ball over, hit the receivers when he has to, they're going to win. And you know what? I think he's fine with that, and he should be, because at the end of the day, your goal is to win a Super Bowl. You want to get as many Super Bowls as possible. Now he has one. He's got one under his belt.
Yeah.
So, what was I going to say?
But this is where, like, I look at Jalen Hurts, and, when I look at how Eagles fans are responding to this question, they're making it seem like we're talking about Tom Brady versus Cam Newton. And that's just not the case.
No, it's not.
Like, Jalen Hurts, yes, he's won a Super Bowl. And, yeah, I'm man enough to say that's one more than Dak. Like, so don't come at me with the Dak stand stuff. We're talking about Jalen Hurts and Cam Newton. Jalen Hurts has won one Super Bowl. Let's cut out the whole he's going to be a Hall of Famer, he's going to be the greatest of all time act that we're talking about. Right? Let's take it at face value. In 10 years, we'll come up with that conversation. But right now, Jalen Hurts is just a very good system quarterback that can get the job done for your team, and you have a great team. Philadelphia has a great team. Stop trying to compare it to bottom 10 franchises. That just makes you look stupid.
Philly,
why do you want to compare yourself to the Panthers?
This is going to be a thing ongoing for a long time. Is like Philly is going to want to have Justin or Jalen Hurts justified as being one of the greats, and everybody in the country. And maybe some Eagles fans know this, that they are absolutely loaded and have the greatest team on paper right now. Like, Philly just wants to compare how good Jalen Hurts is to, a Cam Newton or whatever, a freaking Joe Burrow and all that, where those guys are actually, showing their talent more and more than Jalen Hurts is because, run-heavy team, Jalen Hurts making the smart throws, tush-push, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's something that it just doesn't – it's going to be hard to compare to. And, like, the thing is, I just
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. Keep losing my train of thought.
Let's put Jalen Hurts on that Carolina Panthers team that went to the Super Bowl. Do they go to the Super Bowl?
No.
There you go. There's your answer.
No. I mean, I'll ask that to you. Are they going to the Super Bowl?
No, I agree with you. And but that's where I look at this and I'm like, yeah, if we want to talk stats and stuff, like Jalen Hurts could have the better stats at the end of his career. But if we're going to look at a 10-year career, Jalen Hurts is he's less than halfway to most of Cam Newton's stats.
Look at his attempts. Look at his passing attempts.
I don't have the passing attempts up right now.
I think he has in his 5 years right now. It's around 1,900 pass attempts.
Yeah,
1,900
Cam
pass
Newton
attempts.
is probably at 50.
Probably like 5,000, maybe 4,500 around there.
Yeah, no. So if we're going to talk about player to player, Cam Newton was a different breed. He was just stuck in an organization that he honestly revived. He made them relevant.
He did.
So let's not act like Jalen Hurts was, stepping into a team that was absolutely dead. He took over a team that was being run by Nick Foles and Carson Wentz and had just won a Super Bowl a few years prior. Let's not act like this was some bottom 10 franchise like you're trying to compare it to.
It's wild because, like, at one point, I think this was last year or the start of the season, like, we were questioning him. It's like, yo, we need to have a conversation about Jalen Hurts right now because he just wasn't getting the job done. Last year, before even Saquon, it was, okay, I think we know what Jalen Hurts is. And I think Philly fans agree with it. Like, you don't know what you're going to get. You can either get a good Jalen Hurts or you're going to get, what the hell is Jalen Hurts doing out there type of game. That's what he was before last year. Let's not forget this, okay? And again, not knocking on him, but, like, there was questions around him. There were question marks like, can he be the franchise guy for this organization? Can he do it? But then you bring in, A.J. Brown, you bring in Devontae Smith, you bring in Saquon. Once you bring in Saquon Barkley, that just changes everything. Yeah. The O-line, like, everything about that team is so stacked, like, offense, defense. I mean, we saw it from the defense this year. They had question marks. They showed out. But I think, it took a little bit of time for Jalen Hurts to, get to where he's at. I still don't think if, he's on a team like Carolina where he's at right now, I don't think they make the Super Bowl. No fucking way. No. But it shouldn't be like that for Jalen because he knows this. Everyone in the Eagles fan base knows this. Everyone in the Eagles organization knows this. He just has to play his role. Yeah. And it's not a bad thing. Like, dude, you just won a Super Bowl. Like, I wish Justin Fields or whoever could play their role, maybe throw for 1,800 yards back in the 60s and run the ball and somehow win a Super Bowl. But believe me, I'd kill for that.
But
so
dude,
be happy.
This is it's kind of a double-edged sword here because I love Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. I think he's fantastic. And yes, he won a Super Bowl. He's great. Like, I'm not trying to take away from what he's doing. But you look at the draft and, like, Cam Newton got put on a team that truly they weren't that good. In his 10 years, they weren't that good. Like, the organization sucked. All right? But we had a generational talent, a generational player that actually produced at the highest level. And he was just stuck in a bad spot.
He was.
Like, if he actually left Carolina in the prime of his career and he was on a Philadelphia Eagles team or he was on one of those great New England teams during that time, Steelers, like all those teams that he could have went to, like we could compare those head to head and it'd be similar arguments because those teams did go to Super Bowls, they did win. But like, how great could they have been? Like, he's a generational talent. We are basically tearing down Cam Newton, who is probably one of the best players to play the quarterback position in NFL history, and we're tearing him down because he played on such a shitty organization.
And our Eagles fans like oh, Jalen Hurts, like they're being homebodies.
All day. I mean, whatever. He's your guy. I would do the same for Dak, but I don't know if I would compare Dak to Cam Newton. Dak's a great quarterback. But Cam Newton was just different, dude. Mm-hmm. It's almost like people didn't watch Super Bowl 50. Like, I feel like people didn't watch that season.
That
they didn't watch.
Got
like, did no one
in the Super Bowl?
Did no one watch football from? I believe he started in 2011. From 2011 to like 2016. Like, did no one watch football? If you watched football, you know Cam Newton was a dog. You know Cam Newton was one of the best quarterbacks at the time and probably still would be today if you dropped him in his prime into today's game. Yeah. He's a generational talent. Yeah. That's where I'll leave it at.
Yeah,
and I think this argument is dumb to have because they're two very different quarterbacks, but I'm taking the Rolls Royce all day, Cam Newton.
Fair enough. At the end of the career, though, I think we'll look back. We'll look back on it in 5 years. We'll remember this.
Yes, we'll come back to it.
Can we remember this in 5 years? We'll see.
No. All right.
That'd be quite impressive. Yo, remember that time we recorded? We talked about Cam Newton and Jalen Hurts?
It's going to be funny when we do that.
Oh, dude.
What happens if the Eagles just aren't good for the next 5 years? It's going to be crazy. I should start screenshotting.
The worst thing that would ever happen. No, I can't even say it. I'd get killed. I'd get killed. I'm not gonna say it.
All right.
I'm good.
All right, let's move on.
Good.
Let's move on from this.
Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Back to the show.
All right, we got another top 5. I think this one's gonna be
baby.
I think this one's gonna be pretty cool. A little contentious, maybe, but we both have a list of 5 guys, and we can repeat just so we keep it moving here because him and I could go on a tangent, and this could go on for an hour. But our top 5 of the week is players that we thought would be better than they were when they got to the league. All right, so
or better than they are right now.
What?
You said okay.
No, don't try and pull this. Like this is I put the blueprint out there and I put a lot of words into it. This is not like yours.
I have current players, by the way.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I have some. It's recent.
In the past.
I have like the last like 10 years.
All right.
Nothing from before like 2000.
Okay, so I have more current players that are actually still in the league now.
That's fine. That's perfect. Because I have a few that
aren't gone. Okay,
yeah.
fair enough.
All right, you want me to start?
You make the call, bro.
All right, let's start at 5.
Okay,
and we'll work our way up to number 1.
Okay, so we're going back and forth here.
Yeah, let's just go back and forth. We can discuss our picks. So essentially, we're going to be giving at least probably 10 guys.
Yeah. So number 1 would be probably the biggest player that we thought would be the biggest flop. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. So at number 5, I'm putting Sammy Watkins. Like you watch him at Clemson. Yeah.
Interesting.
You watch him at Clemson. Like I thought he was going to be a dog in the NFL, and then he just showed up. He got drafted by Buffalo. I believe he got released after his rookie contract, signed with LA, and then ended up on Kansas City. I want to say that was the angle. And I remember Dallas being interested in him after the Los Angeles Rams stint. Maybe it was like a year or two. And they were very high on him. Like I feel like maybe he could have had a different career trajectory. But when you went to Kansas City in those teams, like you just were never going to be the guy. Mm-hmm. Just was never going to happen. Whereas in Dallas, they tend to spread the ball out a little more than Patrick Mahomes does when he just throws to Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Like he could have had a chance maybe to grow, and you look at Tolbert now, like he's growing into a role. Like maybe Sammy Watkins could have got something done, but he just never produced how I thought he was going to once he got in the league because he was so dominant at Clemson, and I don't know, it just never happened for him.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think we again, I didn't really watch college by then, but I think we expected more. He had a very high standard. Quite a high standard. I mean, when I watched him in Buffalo, dude, if you're talking about one receiver that gave Darrelle Revis a hard time, it was Sammy.
No, he had the talent.
He did, but he just didn't get to where he should have been. Yes,
he had plays. He didn't have games. He didn't have seasons.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Yeah.
My number 5. Okay, so hopefully I did this right. I have Mac Jones on this bitch. I got Mac Jones.
Did this right.
I got Mac Jones at number 5 because in 2021, 67.6% pass completion. He threw for 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 picks. His yards decreased by at least 1,000 after each year. I just saw you saw a massive fall off by this guy, and his rookie year, I think he made the playoffs. He made the Pro Bowl. He was with Belichick in New England, and when I'm watching this team, I'm like, great, they found their guy, and they're going to torture us for 20 years or something.
Yeah.
But just never worked out. After his first year, I think Bill obviously was on the back end of his NFL career, and nothing was just gelling for the Patriots, and nothing was gelling for Mac. I mean, I think we've seen some glimpses and flashes of Mac Jones, even in Jacksonville. But after your rookie year, you had your bet. You almost threw for 4,000 yards on a New England Patriots team with not that much talent, and he just sucked after that. Every single year, he just got worse and worse. So I thought he was going to be good. First round pick. I think it was like 15, 16, or 17 overall, one of those. Yeah. But I thought he was going to be the franchise of that team, the franchise quarterback, but just never happened. So Mac Jones was number 5 for me.
Number 4, I got Trent Richardson. Running back.
Good one. Yeah.
This dude.
That should be number 1, bro.
Mike, I'm going to read you this right now.
That should be number 1.
Ready? No, I got a good one at number 1.
Okay. I didn't know it was past players. I'm sorry.
No, it could be anything. Current. No, okay. That's fine. That makes it better because I don't have a lot of.
Because I would have put him on the list, no doubt.
No, Trent Richardson, which is still kind of a current player. We'll get to that in a second. Alabama, all right. 2-time national champion, Two-time first-team All-SEC. He was the SEC Offensive Player of the Year in 2011 going into the draft.
He was unreal.
And then this guy did jack squat. He got drafted with the 3rd pick and didn't do shit.
Yeah.
He just bounced around year after year after year. And now
Who took him? The Colts?
Yes, the Colts.
Okay.
And now do you know where he's playing football?
Canada.
No, he's playing in the Football Americano de Mexico for Guadalupe State, Chihuahua.
Wow.
What are we like? This talk about a fall off. I probably should have had this guy higher on the list after finding out that. I found that after I made the list. But my God, dude, what an incredible flop! That is horrible. I
didn't even know they had a
and
league
also,
in Mexico,
also
bro.
on top of that. The Colts got to stop drafting guys with the last name Richardson. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's actually horrible. It doesn't
for sure.
work. It doesn't work. All right, over to you.
All right, Najee Harris is number 4 for me.
All right, I'm going to push back because I do think the Steelers did not help him.
Okay, but all right, now hear me out. So Najee Harris, a very similar running back right there. So that's why I gave you the look like you. Damn,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say his name. The thing is with Najee, okay, he's rushed for 1,000 yards each season of his career. All right, so I'm not going to knock him. I think again, like top 5 players we thought would be better. This goes back to Sammy Watkins. All right, so his first year rushes for 1,200 yards, and second year about 1,034, third year 1,035, fourth year 1,043. When you saw him 4 yards per attempt, 8 rushing touchdowns, it was the most in a season that he's had. So that's another stat that's could be better.
Yeah.
That's another guy. You saw him in college and you saw the way he ran in college and how dominant he was.
Yeah.
You expected him to just be so much better. Like he was so explosive at Alabama. Everyone thought that you were going to see that on the next level, and we haven't. I don't think we have. No. We have not seen him be even close to that type of Najee Harris. And yes, I agree with you. The Steelers are not helping him out whatsoever.
Where's he at now?
He's at LA. He's at the Chargers.
So
that could be a little bit different. I don't know though. You mean you give him a 1-year, $8 million contract, somewhere around there. You bring in Amarion Hampton. I just, Najee's he's gonna need another opportunity. He's either gonna need an injury to help him, or he's gonna need another op. Because watching him in college, that's where I actually, started to know these guys. He was a dog, bro. Like he another Sammy Watkins, where you thought he'd be, a 1,500 yard rusher every single season, just dominating, hurling people, running people over. Yeah. It's more so, inside gaps, just trying to gain yards, and that's just not the type of guy he is, in my opinion. Granted, he still had 1,000 yard rusher every year. He was. I just didn't see it, We were waiting for that. I feel like a lot of people, especially, when fantasy was coming around, we were waiting for Najee. He was being a first round pick. Then he's dropping to a second round pick. Now he's like a 4th round pick. Yeah. So that was someone that I wanted to be better, but did not.
Yeah.
Najee Harris, number 4.
Number 3, Tavon Austin. Coming out of West Virginia, he's the most electric college football player we've ever seen
of all time. Yep.
And I truly do believe this. If we had rookie Tavon Austin drafted from 2020 to now, completely different story. I think the use of gadget players in offenses nowadays, you look at Sean McVay's offense, like if he was on the Rams now and got drafted by him, he'd be a problem.
The Lions, Chiefs, yeah.
We wouldn't even be talking about Cooper Kupp. It'd be Tavon Austin. Like it's just the Chiefs, the Lions, like gadget players are just way more involved. Yeah.
They're a lot more useful in today's NFL. And the thing is too, like when you look back on, I don't know if you ever seen that video, is Naheem Hines, and he was like, yo, is that Tavon Austin? Like, bro, that's one of the best college players. Yeah. Like, that is what he's going to be known by. Yes. His NFL career, people probably couldn't even name off the numbers that he had each year. I don't even know how many years he played in the league.
Dude, he only had 2,000 receiving yards.
In total, yeah. It's like that was someone, massive fall off, but one of the best college careers we've ever seen.
I don't even know if it was like a fall off. It was like it never even got started.
Yeah, it was kind of like John Ross was another one.
Yeah, you just stalled after his last year at West Virginia, but we'll always have that highlight tape.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the John Wall, Ball's Life mixtape. Like what he's like, the John Wall of Ball's Life in college, right there.
Yes.
So, number 3, I might get backlash on this, but we have to address the elephant. It's not even an elephant in the room, but we got to address it. I'm going to say Jahan.
I was gonna put him,
I
but out of respect for a local lad, I didn't put him. So thank you for doing that. And now you're the asshole.
I am the asshole. But you know what, though?
But I agree with you.
We're rooting for you. Like, we truly are rooting for Jahan.
Touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yes. Close.
Called back.
Very close.
Called back.
Very close. But, I think with Jahan, seeing, being 16th overall, being drafted by Ron Rivera and the Commanders or the Redskins at the time, I thought it was going to look really good. His first year, he had Sam Howell. I think he had about 7 touchdowns around like.
He was very good on Washington.
He was solid, bro. He had about 523 yards in that season, and then after that, it just got tough. Yeah, I think Terry McLaurin was obviously clearly the number one, and he just. I don't think they had faith in him, especially Washington. Again, I can't speak for Jahan here, but I'm obviously rooting for the guy. I think we now know his role in an offense, and I think he's happy with that. Hey, he's a Super Bowl champion, so it sucks because I thought Washington was a really, really, really good landing spot for him.
He was doing really well.
I thought, immediate wide receiver 2. Sam Howell was actually throwing him the ball. I thought we were going to see, a big jump from him, and we just,
Or did.
We haven't. And that's
it's
fine,
also,
though, because I think where he's at with the Eagles right now is perfect for him. Again, that's what the Eagles are building this machine where they just need to play their role. None of these guys have to play hero ball. A.J. Brown doesn't have to play hero ball. Saquon Barkley is probably the only one who has to because he's that good.
Yeah.
But the receiving core, they just have to, run their routes, block. They just got to do the smart things. And I think Jahan is in a very good spot now for him. So I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
You really were going to put him down? I thought it was.
I was going to.
So I went through in the other fantasy league I had. I just went through and just saw players on benches. I didn't go on the waivers or something. I'm like, let me find people who, like, this is probably 3rd, 4th year in the league and just go from there. So, yes, I am the asshole, but.
No, I was going to put him too.
The truth
but I replaced him with this guy at number 2, Trevor Lawrence.
Same.
Like
I have that number 2.
Like Trevor Lawrence is all right, perfect.
Yeah, so do I.
It's just like it's a weird situation. He's down in Jacksonville. He literally never lost a game. He was one of the most dominant quarterbacks this nation has seen from high school to the end of college.
Andrew Luck comparison.
Then he came into the league, and it's not like he hasn't had weapons to throw to. He hasn't he had running backs. He had decent teams. And
still does.
Still does. You could argue this year's his best team, so it's really going to show.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on him to produce, especially this year, because he hasn't. And you look at those teams like who was it? It was the Chargers game.
Yeah, where they won.
Yeah. Like, where is that guy? But you look at the beginning of that game.
They almost beat the Chiefs that year in the playoffs. They lost by like 3 points.
It's just so weird. He has such a weird career right now because he has moments like those games where I'm like, man, this guy's legit. But then, he has games where he throws 5 interceptions, and you're like, what the
He reminds me of when Josh Allen first got in the league. Like, he, would overthrow a lot of receivers, would throw a lot of picks, and you're like, dude, this guy is, he's not that good. And then out of nowhere, boom, just ascending like no tomorrow.
But we're not talking about a guy who just got in the league.
Yeah,
we're talking exactly. That should not still be happening.
Like, we should be this is the biggest year of his career is right now.
Yeah.
And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for maybe 2 of those years because he had who's the guy he had that was at the bar with the girl, this head coach?
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer. He had Urban Meyer. Then he had, a kind of a washed up Dougie P. So he didn't really get the guidance that he needed. I think with Liam Cohen Duval there right now, I think you're going to see a lot more of him throwing swing passes to, Bigsby and Travis Etienne. So listen, they got Travis Hunter there. They got BTJ, top guy in the league. But it's been an up and down career for him, especially as, again, the number 1 overall pick. He was an absolute stamp. He was not going to go anywhere else.
This has to be one of the top 2 worst quarterback first rounds I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Ready for this? Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey
Lance,
and
Mac Jones, Justin Fields. Yeah, I remember. Believe me, I remember.
Is Justin Fields in here?
He was picked 20th, I believe. That's called memory.
No, that's Najee Harris.
15th. Justin Fields got drafted by the Bears that year.
Nope, that's Mac Jones.
He was 10.
Oh, Justin Fields right here.
He was
11.
10. 11. Okay, and then Mac Jones was 15. Yeah, so Trey Lance was, I thought me and Gasser were on this, was a bust. He was easy. No, I did not want them. San Francisco flubbed that up big time. Zach Wilson was a bust as well. Yeah. Justin Fields was the guy I wanted. Now we're back here. But yeah, again, up and down career so far as the number 1 guy.
All right, give me your number 1.
I think we might have the same one.
All right,
Is he a current player?
Yes.
Number 1, I have Kyle Pitts.
No.
Okay. I have Kyle Pitts
ahead.
at number 1. I mean, dude.
I knew you weren't going to have mine.
Yeah, but Kyle Pitts, bro. Is he not a nightmare?
This is his year, Mike. Kyle Pitts.
Oh, yeah,
Mike,
dude.
Kyle
You're
Pitts
hilarious.
is the player version of the Dallas Cowboys. It's always his year. It's always going to be his year, and then it never is.
Oh, yeah. That's like Jeremy Rucker for me. I'm like, dude, like, just wait. Just if I hear the name, he gets like 100 yards for the season. Bro, 1,000 yards his rookie year. He actually was really good. I think he was like a top 5 tight end in the league. After that, his most yards in the season was 667. The most touchdowns he's had is 4 in a year. Like, dude, he was drafted 4th overall. You can't be using Arthur Smith, number 1, ruined this guy. Number 2 just hasn't been able to figure it out. Like, they just can't. You got Drake London there, but this dude could play, man. I still believe this man could play. He got drafted 4th overall. He's got the frame. He's got the hands. He just hasn't had the opportunities. Kyle Pitts, number 1, man. It's a 100%.
All right, my number 1.
Hell of a list by me.
This guy was good when he first came in the league. This guy should be in the conversations to be a league MVP every year. He should have been in the conversations to make it to Super Bowls. He shouldn't be on the Cleveland Browns. He should still be in Houston playing a great career. And it is Deshaun Watson. Talk about a guy falling flat on his face. Like, my God, dude. Like, you had it all. You actually had a little too much.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you should be the guy. Like, you should be the guy that's competing against Patrick Mahomes in the AFC. But you blew it. You literally overstepped your boundaries. Literally. And now you played in Cleveland. And now you have Cleveland fans literally clowning you because you said that you were taking Shador Sanders under your wing, going to show him the ropes. Like, brother, please don't go near him. Yeah. Please don't go near him. Let that kid just keep getting speeding tickets, because we can live with speeding tickets. Speeding tickets, yes, it's not great. Not a great look to get your second one in a matter of a couple months living in Cleveland, but it's way better than touching your masseuse.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? It's like when you watched him in Houston with D-Hop, he truly was an elite quarterback. Like, I think people are going to forget how dominant this dude was when he played for Houston with D-Hop. Bro, he was unreal. And then everything that happened, downhill. Mm-hmm. Everything. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like with Deshaun, though, we saw how good he can be. Like, it wasn't a question mark of like, oh, like, is this the only thing we're going to see from Deshaun? Like, can he get better? Like, now we saw that shit, bro. Like, he was dominant. He was electric. He was an elite quarterback at that time. And then he just fucked up at the end of the day. So I feel like Deshaun, you know, I didn't say I wouldn't think he would be better. Like, I thought he would be better. Like, he was really good. Like, he was at that level, but was horny. That's at the end of the day, he was horny.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, dude, just couldn't control the testosterone.
All right, that was a fun top 5.
What time
that was a fun top 5. Sweet. We're out of here.
We're out of here.
All right, but we're doing a little thing here. So on Saturday, Yankees are playing the Cubs. I'm taking Jazz Chisholm to hit a home run. Short porch, back in New York. Just got selected to the All-Star game. We're going to be picking 2 guys that hit a home run on every Saturday from here on out. Parlay it, do whatever you want. But we're telling you right now, this is what's going to happen. Jazz Chisholm, home run, book it.
Seiya Suzuki, Cubs. I'm gonna pick against him. I'm gonna pick against him. Seiya Suzuki, underrated, number 1. Give that guy some love. He should have been an All-Star.
All right, there you go.
There you go.
All right, we're out of here. See you guys.
Peace out.